Hello, my name is John, and I am the owner of the Good Steward Online bookkeeping service, and we are located in Wasilla, Alaska. Today, I want to share with you a QuickBooks tip on how you can do markup on items that you have either purchased or expenses that you have, and you'd like to pass that markup on to your customer. We're going to be working in a sample company that I've loaded into QuickBooks Online called Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is a pretty common scenario that you may find yourself in when submitting invoices, and there's an easy way to do this through QuickBooks Online. So what we're going to do first, we are in our company's dashboard, and we're going to go here to this gear that you will see right here on the right, the settings. We're going to click on that, and this is going to open up your company. And what you want to click on from here first is accounts and settings. So let's click on accounts and settings. And over here on the left of the screen, you'll see a little menu, and you want to click on expenses. After you click on expenses, you'll see bills and expenses. And what we're doing here is we're setting this up for the very first time. Once this is set up in your company's account settings, you won't have to continually go back and do this. But we're going to see here in the first section under bills and expenses where it says make expenses and items billable. And you see it's turned on in this account. And we click on this button right here where it says on. Just click on those words, and it's going to open up this screen. See here where it says make expenses and items billable. That is turned on. You can toggle it between on and off. And there is a spot here where you can enter a default rate of markup. So go ahead and just click that. And a company that I used to work for, they had a standard rate of 20% markup. It's also a good practice to mention this in contracts that you have with customers so that it doesn't come as a surprise that you're going to be marking up these items and what percent you're going to do it at. So we have a 20% markup here that we have set as our default. Now don't just go down here and click the done button. Instead, you want to scroll down on this screen until you come to the bottom where it says save. Click save. And once you see the screen popped up that says settings saved, then you can click the done button at the bottom of the screen. Now the next thing that we're going to do, now that we have that all set in our company's account settings, we're going to run through a scenario where our company rented a piece of equipment for a job that we were doing, and we want to charge our customer for this job, and we want to pass the expense of that equipment rental on to the customer along with our markup fee of 20%. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter an expense, a bill. Now this is an expense that our company, our landscaping company, owes. So some reason it didn't open. Let's try it again. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add this bill. We're going to create a bill over here on the right where it says add bill, drop down to create bill, and we're going to choose a vendor. For this case, we're going to say that we rented a piece of equipment off of Ellis Equipment Rental. They're one of our vendors here you can see in the drop down. So let's choose this vendor, and we're going to choose a category of equipment rental. And let's say that we were doing some landscaping and we had to rent a backhoe. So we're just going to type in here backhoe rental. And let's say that the backhoe cost us $225 to rent for the day. And the next option we have is we want to click that this is billable. That means we're going to be passing this expense of the backhoe rental on to our customer. And notice here in the next box that it auto-populated the 20% because we had set that as our default. Now, maybe you have customers that you've negotiated different rates with, so you can't necessarily set a default for all customers. So you can change this right here if you need to any percent that you and the customer have already agreed upon. Then you have the option, is this taxable? And the next important step that you want to do before you save this bill is you need to choose the customer. This is the customer that your company is doing the job for and that you're going to be invoicing. So let's choose a customer that we are doing some landscaping work for that required a backhoe rental. So we can just choose any customer here. Let's choose Red Rock Diner as our customer. And we're going to save this bill. This bill is now saved, so we can close it. Now, the job is done, and we are ready to bill the Red Rock Diner for the expenses that we have on their job. This would go under a cell. So here on the left in your menu, go to Cells and click choose Invoices. And here we're going to select Create an Invoice. And just close these pop-ups that QuickBooks has. There's a way to shut those off, and I will show that in another video. So as we're going to build this invoice, the first thing we're going to do is add a customer. So we're going to go here. I'm going to start typing in Red, and notice that QuickBooks says, are you wanting to choose Red Rock Diner? I choose them as my customer. Now, something very important happened I want to draw your attention to over here on the right. And on the right, you see that we have a suggested transaction. And this is a billable expense, $270, a markup of 20% for a backhoe rental. So QuickBooks is notifying us that it appears that this transaction that you have goes on this invoice. So it's asking if you would like to add it. And I do. So I'm going to click Add. So notice here that it added the backhoe rental at $225. And also notice that it included a 20% markup for the backhoe at $45 for a grand total of $270. Now, one thing that you also may be interested in seeing on this invoice is that the markup fee shows that it is hidden, which means when the customer gets their invoice, it's not going to show the markup fee. It's going to just show the total of the $270. Now, that might not be all that we did for this job. We have other charges. So on this same invoice, we can add the other charges. Let's say that we had some labor services that we need to pass on to our customer or to charge our customer for. So we can do labor hours here of landscaping. And let's say we had 20 hours at $50 an hour. So now we have a total invoice of $1,270. So what I'm going to do is save this, and I'm going to do a review and send. And the reason I'm doing this review is because I want you to see the invoice. Notice here under the backhoe rental, it just shows the $270. And then it shows our hours of labor, 20 at $50, and then it has the grand total with the tax, the sales tax added. One thing you may have noticed as we were going through this is I did not choose a product or service because I didn't have one set in my chart of accounts for that backhoe rental whenever we went through this. But this invoice will be ready to send. And that is how you pass the expense plus the markup onto a customer before you send an invoice. Thanks for watching this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to continue adding short videos to help you learn QuickBooks Online. Thank you.